Ever get that feeling like you stumbled onto something that kind of shifts your whole perspective?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, one of our listeners shared this personal story called Love is a Choice, our story.
Yeah.
And it just hits different, it really digs into what makes relationships thrive, like not just survive, but truly flourish. And the big idea we're going to unpack is that love, it's not passive.
Yeah.
It's an active choice we make every day.
Absolutely. And what strikes me about this story is how real it is. It doesn't get lost in, those big romantic ideals. It's grounded in everyday experiences, those hard-won lessons you learn from navigating an actual partnership. The author's journey from believing in like a fate kind of love to understanding how powerful our choices are, that's really the heart of this deep dive.
I love that. Let's jump right into that. The author talks about at first thinking that love just happens.
You're right.
You meet someone, there's chemistry, boom, that's it. But then they had this realization, what they called the 5-year revelation. What was that all about?
So the 5-year revelation is this turning point where they look back at their relationship with Amanur and realize that it lasted not because of luck or some destiny, but because of all the little and big choices they both made over time. It was a shift from love as something that just is to something you actively build, like brick by brick, every single day.
Yeah.
So the core insight here is that lasting love isn't stumbled upon, it's crafted.
Totally. It changes everything, right? Puts us in the driver's seat. It's not waiting for that perfect person or situation. It's about the work we put in. And they talk about this point where the relationship got a little too comfy.
Yeah.
Maybe even felt like roommates.
Yeah, definitely. They describe falling into that routine, the excitement fading, life becoming more about logistics than passion.
I've been there.
Right. I think many long-term couples know exactly what they're talking about.
Right.
But here's the interesting part. They didn't see this as the beginning of the end.
Right.
They saw it as a sign to shake things up, inject some energy back into the relationship.
And they did something really simple but powerful.
Yeah.
A spontaneous sunrise hike. It sounds so movie-esque, but it clearly made a difference.
It really did. Breaking out of their routine like that, doing something unexpected together, brought in a whole new dynamic. They were out of their comfort zone, sharing this physical challenge, reaching the summit together. It reminds us that adventures, even small ones, can reignite that connection, create these new positive memories. It's actively working to keep that spark alive, bringing in something fresh.
And it wasn't a one-time thing. They really embraced this idea of shared adventures as a way to reconnect. Rock climbing, skiing, even acro yoga. It sounds like they were purposefully looking for experiences that would challenge them individually and as a couple.
Exactly. It wasn't just about getting an adrenaline rush. It was about trust, relying on each other in different situations. When you're rock climbing and you're literally depending on your partner for safety, or you're in a challenging yoga pose together, you have to communicate. You have to support each other in this very direct way.
Yeah.
And that shared vulnerability, the joy of overcoming those challenges together, it deepens your bond in a way that, say, just watching TV together can't. So the takeaway here is that trying new things together isn't just fun. It actively rebuilds connection and trust. It keeps the spark alive.
And the author also talks about something super relatable, especially in the early stages of dating, wanting to play it cool with communication, specifically texting.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've all been there. That feeling of not wanting to seem too eager or available.
Right. It's like a classic dating move. You don't
Yeah.
want to seem too invested too quickly, right?
Right.
The idea is by delaying your response, you create a bit of mystery, make yourself seem more, desirable or something. But Amanur, she had a very direct reaction. She basically called the author out, saying she wasn't interested in games.
And that honesty was a turning point for the author, right?
Yeah.
They realized that trying to seem less available was actually preventing a real connection from forming.
Exactly. The author realized that real security in a relationship comes from reliability, honest communication, not from playing games. They shifted their focus from appearing desirable to actually being dependable. This meant doing what they said they'd do, calling when they promised, keeping plans, being present in conversations. We see here how prioritizing consistency over games builds that strong foundation of trust.
And that leads perfectly into this idea that love isn't a one-time thing. It needs constant attention, like daily. The author compares it to a savings account.
Right.
You can't just make one deposit and expect it to stay full forever.
It's such a good analogy. It highlights how relationships need consistent investment. You can't just coast on those grand gestures from the past. You have to nurture it regularly. And the author talks about Amanur needing words of affirmation. I think for some listeners, that might be a new concept.
Yeah.
What does that look like in a relationship? What kind of expressions are we talking about?
Good point. So in this case, Amanur felt most loved and appreciated when the author verbally expressed his feelings, gave compliments, acknowledged her good qualities. And the author admits that at first he wasn't great at that. He just assumed she knew how he felt.
Which is a common trap we fall into, right? We assume our partners know, but saying it out loud makes a world of difference. And when the author started making an effort to offer those words of affirmation, those little consistent reminders of his love, it had a huge positive impact on Amanur. It reinforces the idea that these daily acts of attention, even if they seem small, are vital for keeping a relationship strong.
Absolutely. And the story about gifts really stuck with me, too. The author used to think that expensive gifts were the ultimate way to show love.
Right.
But they had a real change of heart on that.
That anecdote about the entrepreneur whose mother just wanted his time, not more stuff, that's so powerful. It totally reframes what a meaningful gift can be. Then the author compares those designer gifts he used to buy with the thoughtful gift of a first edition copy of The Secret Garden, which had this personal connection to Amanur. The emotional impact of that thoughtful, less expensive gift was way bigger. It shows that knowing your partner, their inner world, is key to giving gifts that truly matter. It's about the thoughtfulness, the understanding behind it, not the price tag.
So much, yes. And as we wrap up, the author circles back to the main point. Love isn't about finding some magical person or relying on luck. It's a choice. They acknowledge that every relationship has its ups and downs, disagreements, distance, uncertainty. But it's the choice to navigate those moments together that really makes love last.
Absolutely. They debunk that fairy tale idea of effortless love. Healthy, lasting relationships take work, especially when things get tough. The choice to communicate honestly, to try to understand your partner's perspective even when you disagree, to stay committed to working through challenges, those are the choices that fuel long-term love. And the author makes a crucial point that love often doesn't end with a big fight. It fades from neglect, unspoken things, missed opportunities to connect.
Such an important point. And the story ends with this powerful insight. It's not just about finding the one, it's about becoming the right partner. It shifts the focus from what we want to get to what we bring to the relationship.
Right. It's a huge shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on your partner's flaws or waiting for them to change, it puts the responsibility on us. It's about cultivating those qualities within ourselves. Empathy, communication, consistency, thoughtfulness, the things that make us supportive, loving, reliable partners. That proactive stance, taking ownership of our part in the relationship, that's what makes all the difference.
As we finish our deep dive into Love is a Choice, the key takeaways are crystal clear. Thriving relationships are built on effort, adventure keeps the spark alive, and consistency creates unbreakable bonds. It's about actively choosing love every single day.
Yeah, it's a constant process of showing up, being present, actively nurturing that connection you share. It's not a destination, it's a journey of growth and commitment together.
On that note, here's a thought for you. What's one small, consistent action you can take today to nurture one of your most important relationships? Thinking about becoming the right partner, what's one thing you can choose to do that will have a positive impact? Because it's in those everyday choices, those acts of love and attention, that the real strength and beauty of lasting relationships are found. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.